All right, guys, welcome back. We are live with week 6 of the Hub campaign. I am rejoined by Jim and Michael. And of course, we have newcomers Sora and Leon, who I believe caught the show over the last couple of weeks and asked to join. Let's welcome them.
Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you.
Jim, how are you doing this week?
I am splendid, in spite of the fact that I just, like, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, my students turned in a bunch of papers on me for the next week grading. I'm having a lovely week.
Excellent. That's good news. It's semester break soon, right?
I'm a PhD candidate at Ohio State, and yeah, it's actually spring break next week. So, because I'm a genius, I decided, I'll make the midterm paper due right before spring break, so my students
Sounds
can
good.
go off and have a lovely break, and I can spend break grading papers.
You know, Jim, I sometimes still wake up having nightmares of missing a final or something like that at college. And while some people have those nightmares as well, I've heard, mine were actually true. And here is why. I had a professor who was a complete fucking dickweed, who wrote in the syllabus that the final exam was the week after Thanksgiving break, rather than finals week, and never said anything about it again. And so I came back from Thanksgiving break. I was like, yeah, I got like 4 weeks to prepare for this final. He's like,
You know,
welcome back. Prepare for the final exam. I was like, what the fuck? And I was not the only one. I failed that class. I failed it hard.
yeah, that's a dick move, right?
Terrible move. Alright, just felt like sharing that horrifying story right there into my past. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm swell.
I
Still
think you're,
chasing the American dream.
You're back for revenge this week, right?
We'll see.
We'll see.
That's very likely.
For those looking to catch up, you can, of course, on the Twitch page, hit the hub button down below there on my profile page and find out last week's notes on our Google group. And they're done in character, and they're pretty terrifying from last week. All right, so Sora, let's introduce you. How are you doing this week?
Doing all right. Been looking forward to this, and hope to have some fun and learn the system.
All right, you're playing an elven wizard, right?
That's correct.
Have you come up with a name for this wizard?
Well, being the great creative original person I am, I thought I was going to name him Sora.
Okay, yeah, no, that's
But,
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of airy, like soar. And elves are all about nature names, so I'm down.
Oh
with
well.
But it's
Sora
also-
is a Japanese word for sky, so I guess it
it. Okay.
it suits it, right?
And I heard that you're not just an elf, but you're a loyalist to the Empire. Is this correct?
That is correct.
I am now hearing 1,000 boos coming on the YouTube channel in the future.
Eh.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Don't worry
nature
about
of
it.
the
I'm
beast.
interested to see a loyalist on the game. I actually thought more people would be loyal. I'm super surprised at the way that the campaign has turned out, but there's that. Leon, you're also joining us for the first time this week. How have you been?
I'm nice. It's a really pleasure to play again with you guys. Since I was watching on about 2 or 3 weeks the show, so it's really an honor to play with you all.
Excellent. Well, thank you for watching. And tell us about your elven wizard.
Okay, so my wizard don't take any side yet, but we'll see how things go.
Okay. All right. He might change his mind in the future, perhaps.
Maybe he does, maybe he not.
Sounds like we have a recruiting war going on here. Which side will convert him first?
Unity is just gonna win. I'm sorry.
It's true. It's true.
All right. So, I do have an announcement to say before we get started here. The Hub campaign will be ending at the end of March. But no worries, it will be immediately replaced with a new Pathfinder Adventure Path, also starting probably at 8 Eastern. I'm going to be putting Hub back on the drawing board. I've had a lot of dissatisfaction with the way I've been running it and presenting it. It will be back in the future, but it will probably be vastly changed. Story will be intact, but the way the mechanics are presented will probably be changed completely. So there's that. Alright, so... Oh, Daily Bard. I should, of course, present that to the audience. Boom, here we go. Hopefully all the players have had a chance to look this over. If you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be in the description on the video below. I'm going to pause and take a minute to look at that. You guys start in the Twice and Again, the adventuring tavern from which your adventuring guild is based out of. Your meal this morning is more sparse than normal. And in addition, the vegetables look a little old. The drink that you get is stale.
Oh,
Everyone is arguing over something. There's 2 farmers in the corner who are arguing over the rising price of grain, how it's exploded. There's another gentleman in the corner who's speaking to a young woman who could be his daughter, and he's like adjusting his glasses, and he says, "Now, you listen here. I'm going to tell you what I saw. I'm telling you that 3 regiments of fine elven soldiers came into the town last night around midnight, and now I can't find them anywhere. I'll say they're probably out there driving those Unity devils back." And the young woman at his table is like, "Shh, stop talking about that. If you haven't seen them, it's because they don't want you to know about it." And yeah, things are chaotic all around. The tavern has never been more full, with people out of work, because no one can leave the city.
How many people are in there?
Probably about 20.
I will give each of them 2 gold.
Interesting. Okay. Why don't you roll a charisma check real quick?
Oh, okay.
Just to see how well this is accepted. Okay. So almost everyone thanks you and asks you your name. And some people ask you why you're doing it, and you say...
For relief of the common person.
But when you get to that gentleman who's sitting in the corner with the young woman, he's like, "What the devil? I don't need your charity, sir. Do you know who I am?"
No, I don't.
He sniffs at you and puts down the tea he's drinking and pulls this young woman up from the table and begins stomping off.
Who was that, madam?
Well, he's dragging her along with him.
Oh.
So,
is he
would
an
you like
elf?
to go stop them?
I'll kind of leave a trailing okay as he's doing this.
Okay.
And then just go back to my business.
All right. Anybody else interacting with the tavern around them during these dark times?
Was the gentleman who stormed off an elf?
He was not. He was a well-dressed human.
Okay.
The only elves at this tavern are the ones at your table.
I didn't recognize him, right?
I don't know. Did you recognize him?
I don't know.
Let me move some stuff around, pull out my rule book, and let's see what it might take to recognize someone. It'll almost certainly be an intelligence check.
Okay.
You're a noble, right?
Me?
Yep.
No, I'm a hermit.
Oh, that's right.
That's
It's David,
noble.
that's the noble. Okay, so you won't get proficiency on this. It's just going to be intelligence.
Okay.
You know what? I'll tell you what. For your kind and generous actions earlier, I will give you insight. Or not insight, inspiration. For whenever you'd like to use that. 19, huh? Okay. You do recognize this person. His name is Lord Grobles, and he is the Watchman commander for the Western Gate.
Okay. I will call him back as he's heading out.
Okay.
Lord Grobles, may I ask the manner of your dissatisfaction?
So he turns and he adjusts his glasses and puts one of his fingers to his temple and starts rubbing it and says, I have heard of you. You're that one, right?
The one? Sorry?
Yes, you know.
I'm A1.
Oh my god, that's so loud.
Uh,
Okay, my apologies. Wow, that was so loud.
No
Literally
problem.
have the phone right here. He says, you know, that thing.
sorry? I don't catch your meaning.
He's gesturing towards your clothing.
Okay.
Like this.
I'm sorry, I must be particularly dense today. I'm not catching on to you.
He looks to his the young woman next to him, and she's like, you're a wizard, right?
Yes.
Yes, you are the one that they call the Periwinkle.
That's true.
You're aware that the nobility looks down upon necromancy.
Well, I can see why they would.
So he adjusts his glasses one more time and says, yes. Yes, indeed. It is good that you know your place. And, smirking condescendingly, he turns and continues to pull this young woman away from you and pulls himself outside the tavern.
Very well. They never actually took my gold, right?
That's correct.
Well then, 2 lucky people are instead getting, well, 4 lucky people are instead getting 3 gold pieces.
I see. All right. So what would you guys like to do?
Back to my sparse grub. And ask the
I'd like
barkeep
to
what's going on.
go look at the job board, but Gath has beat me
You
to
go
it.
to the job board, and everything's been pulled off the job board. There are currently no jobs there.
Barkeep.
When you make your way over to the barkeep, he's kind of shining a glass once more, and he's like, well, no work for y'all today. Apparently there's no travel outside the city without a permit. Now, if you were some sort of fancy person, like some sort of bard or maybe a wizard guild member or something, you might be able to get outside, but we don't have any of those here.
If you excuse me, could you tell me more about what's going on in this town?
He says, what's it to you? So he's got like a tip jar next to him, and he kind of subtly nudges it so that the coins in it make like a ringing noise. Nobody? Okay. Alright, so after a couple seconds of looking over you guys, he just turns and is like, okay, if you do not wish any information, and then he goes back to
Okay, I'll pay.
Okay.
Good grief. Can't get good information without paying. All right, I'll give you... Well, how much do you want for your valuable information, sir?
He's like, who's talking of cost? I'm merely asking for a tip.
Oh, okay. 4 gold pieces. How's that sound?
He says, I think I would like the sound of that hitting the bottom of my jar.
Okay. cling, 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 cling.
All right, so you put 4 gold pieces in, and he says, "What would you like to know?"
Uh, any rumors or anything going on in the area that you know of? That could be any
Sure.
any jobs that didn't make it to the job board.
Oh, he says, "Oh, you're looking for the Thief King, huh?" Yeah, there's some jobs going down right now. Some black jobs. You'd have to find your way to the Thief King in the streets, but they say he's looking to move a load of cargo. He's got some boats coming in, from what I hear, and they'll be bringing in supplies, arms, ammunition, which he'll be selling at greatly inflated price, taking advantage of the current crisis. If you were to find him somehow, I'm sure you could make a few coins that way. It's also said that the Eastern Watch Commander is putting out a bounty for anyone who wants to go out and hunt kobolds in the wilds. Supposedly, there's a kobold army preparing to advance upon the city, but I don't believe it exists.
The creatures were never known for their smarts, were they?
He chuckles and says, "No, indeed not. That must be the reason why they joined Unity."
Kobolds and dwarves are so alike, eh? They both live underground and whatnot.
Did you say elves and dwarves?
Kobolds and
Oh,
dwarves.
kobolds and dwarves. So he looks sideways at you and says, "Yes, yes, kobolds and dwarves are alike, friend."
Which of these jobs would pay the most coin to finish?
He says, "I have no idea what either of them might pay."
Has anyone gone out to help the refugees?
He shrugs his shoulders and says, "No one's going in or out of the city, so I cannot say."
Who might we talk to about helping these refugees and finding them shelter?
Well, you'd probably have to talk to the Eastern Watch Commander.
Sounds like a plan to me.
I would very much be keen on seeing to that.
He looks at you strangely and says, "Okay."
Why should we not give aid to my fellow humans?
to my fellow humans. He continues to look strangely at you, Kyron. He's just like, "Yes, go see the Eastern Watch Commander."
I shall, I'm sure. Perhaps I will recruit a bard who will travel outside the city for me and
He looks at you again and says, "Yes, hiring servitors to aid adventurers is a long-standing tradition. I've been confused as to why your group has not hired any themselves, but then again, you have little to bring back after your adventures. Small bits of coin and no treasure, so..." And then he laughs and continues cleaning the glass.
Guess we'll start laughing with him, knowing how madly he raked it in that first adventure.
Okay?
So off to this eastern gate captain.
Everyone's heading there?
Yeah,
Okay.
gonna
You
help
head
the
to
refugees.
You head to the Eastern Gate Captain, or Watch Commander. His name is Lord Halbus Thornberry. He is an elf. And he's currently walking the walls, so there's like Great Wall of China style wall surrounding the eastern edge of the city that seems to have just formed naturally out of the stone. And when you say that you're looking for him, he kind of looks down from this wall and he's like, Who the devil are you lot?
I will look up to him and speak in Elvish, of course, and say, I heard you were looking for some help, and that's why we're here.
He looks down at you and speaks in Elvish and says, "Ah, adventurers, you must be the party leader then." He looks over everybody else and his eyes kind of fall on Sora and Leon. I'm sorry, did you say the name of your character?
Elsarai. It's an
Elsarai.
old elf. Yes.
Okay. So he's basically looking at the two of you and making eye contact with you and avoiding Chiron and Geth.
I make it really obvious that I very intentionally try to make eye contact with him to make it very obvious to him that to make it very awkward for him that he's avoiding attention.
Okay, make a wisdom save.
Wisdom save. Oh my!
Yeah, no, he ignores you completely. You get the idea he doesn't even know he's ignoring you. You're so far beneath his notice. So, he's speaking pompously towards Sora the Wizard. And he says, "So, adventurers, eh? What brings you to the wall?"
We were told that you required some assistance, and that's why we're here. We're here to make some money, or at least I am.
Ah, some money, eh? Yes. Well, have you any hand at killing kobolds?
I think I've maybe killed one or two in my lifetime. I've killed many things. I don't recall it all.
Right? He turns and says, "And you, have you killed any?"
I've killed a lot. I can't remember right now, but many and thousands. I don't know.
He says, "Thousands! Excellent! Then I have a job for you. We believe that
Right.
there may be hundreds of kobolds preparing to mass on the east side of Hub. We just need you to go out there and prevent those filthy human refugees from being overrun. As much as they stink up the city with their horrifying stench, it would not do for the Empire to have a giant corpse pile outside the walls of one of its cities."
Yes, that would smell really bad, wouldn't it?
I agree, yes. And so all three of you are laughing, and Chiron and Geth are just sitting around not understanding what's happened. Well, everybody's like, ha 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 ha.
I speak Elven,
Oh, okay, then you understand what's going on.
and Chiron just looks disgusted the whole time.
Has this been going on for at least 5 minutes?
No, probably about 2 or 3.
Okay. If it goes on much longer, I'll start doing a little ritual.
When they stop talking and start laughing awkwardly, I will chime in Elven. So you mean for us to bring the refugees into the city, of course, where they will be safe?
He turns back towards Sora and says, "I can't believe you've trained it to speak Elven."
It.
I looked at him, I looked back up.
Again, still eye contact on Sora, and he says, "My apologies, good sir. I meant to say you." Still talking directly to Sora.
Yep.
I like this guy.
He says, "There is no reason to bring the refugees into the city. They will be perfectly safe as long as adventurers such as yourselves are out there killing the kobolds.
Well,
I'm
since
sure
we're...
that
oh, sorry.
I'm sure the threat will never coalesce."
I look up and ask him, well, since I have to deal with these wretched humans, I hope the pay is substantial.
"Why, yes, of course. We are paying 10 gold pieces for every dead kobold. Such a price you will not find anywhere else. And, of course,